Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay Winokur, and today we're going to do a little bit of a video on the FG1D Corsair in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, the Corsair that most people know is called the F4U. This is not an F4U. This is, as you can see by the data plate down here, a Corsair made by Goodyear, which in designation listed on the data plate is FG1D. This aircraft is from milviz / blackbird. They changed their name to Blackbird now. Milviz Simulations. Been out for quite a while, but I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a video on how good this is and how overlooked it is. That hasn't been patched in a while. Go ahead and let the wings down now. So down, we're going to pull and lock. And we're going to start off with a showcase by showcasing the working chart board. So if you open up your tray table here, which is a chart board in a World War II U.S. Navy aircraft, you can see you have all kinds of options for loadouts. You can have bombs, fuel tanks, machine guns, and rockets. You can also mess around and toggle it to clean if you so desire. You have your gun sight on or off. And you have a map. You can zoom in and out. Now, I will preface this by saying that the last time I flew this, after one of the most recent sim updates, the map was kind of broken because of the avionics updates that they've done to this. So we'll preface that by saying that. You can also open up your machine gun bays here. You can see the 50 caliber ammunition sitting there. See the guns and the feed trays. There's just a little bit of showcase on the ground there. I'm going to go external here real quickly. You can see we do have some H-fires on. I've got some rockets. We got 8 of them. Also have 50 caliber ammunition. We're all loaded up, ready to go. This is a stock livery that comes with this aircraft. And look, just the use and the wear and tear on it is amazing. You can see it definitely looks like it's been into combat. So externally, this aircraft is very, very good. The model is outstanding. I don't see any flaws with the external model. You can even see the way the rockets are slung there is authentic. Just listen to that double wasp. Go ahead and spool it up again real quick. And pull it back out. So our other double wasp fighter that we have in the sim right now is a Hellcat, and that is an amazing fighter as well. But the reason I'm making this video, and the reason why this one kind of takes itself over the top, is the level of detail that's modeled in this for combat. You can actually shoot the machine guns in here, and you can actually drop the bombs. And there's no other aircraft, not any warbird in this sim that has this right now. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves into a takeoff position. We did the correct startup procedure. You do have to pull the prop through, which is pretty cool. But our cowl flaps open. This is an aircraft that you will blow the engine in, so you do have to watch your temperatures here. Your cylinder head temp, your oil temp, your fuel pressure, and your oil pressure. You do want to watch those couple. And then down here, we've got our suction, our voltage, hydraulic pressure, and our main fuel tank. We are running on the main today. I don't have any drop tanks. You can see here, this is an authentic display, the correct fuel switches. And we even have our 2-stage supercharger with a high and a low setting, which is authentic. Go ahead and take the parking brakes off. See the chocks disappear, which is really cool. Also worth noting, we are here in the Pacific Theater. I am at an add-on airfield that simulates the airfield that the Black Sheep Squadron flew out of, which is rather cool. And do understand that this is not the most recent version. There are some more recent versions that add more aircraft, but there's some scenery add-on dependencies as a part of that, and I just didn't want to deal with that. We're going to taxi onto the runway here, which is on our left. Turn around a little bit here. Give ourselves plenty of room. This is a bird that's going to require a fair bit of power in the taxi too, just because it is so heavy. Back over here and get lined up. You can see there's actually an aircraft in the water there, off to our left, which is pretty cool, I think. The sim is looking absolutely beautiful. Now, just to preface it, before anybody asks, this hasn't been updated in quite some time. So a lot of the things that Flying Iron have figured out, like the free caster and tail wheel and all that stuff, that's not here. So if that's something you're looking for, the Hellcat from Flying Iron is probably going to be your go-to for that, right? Go ahead and get in here. Going to pull and push this down. That's our tail wheel lock. Close the cockpit up. Got our power settings pulled back to where we want to be for cruise. Switch our fuel over to the main, which we are. Top flaps open to make sure that we don't blow the engine right now. The temps are a little bit high, but we're going to put her through a little bit of maneuvering here. Up to 2650 RPM. High 30s. So she's going to be very authentic in terms of how she flies. You are not going to be doing a whole lot of low speed, high angle maneuvering. This was a boom and zoom aircraft like many of the US warbirds were at the time, so you're definitely going to have to fly her like that. Kind of dive in towards the airfield here. Up some speed. Passing 200 knots. Do a high speed pass. 50. See the wind's buffeting us here. Just listen to that sound. Up and do a roll here. And extend. You've got your speed settings through your prop pitch and your manifold pressure. So the RPM is your prop pitch, Manifold pressure is the setting of your, well, yeah, your power. But that's what controls the speed in a warbird. In a warbird, you're not just going to go full throttle like a modern fighter and expect to really have a pleasant flight. Your trim's going to pull you all over the place, and it's not going to be very, very nice. We're going to go ahead and climb a little bit here. I'm going to actually engage the supercharger here to get some more power. Normally you'd engage it when you're in high altitude. That was the purpose of a supercharger. But we're going to mess around with her. And we'll be back with you guys in a minute. So we've turned around. Kind of set ourselves up for an attack run here. Simulate that we're going in an airfield. Enemy airfield. This is the one we just took off from. Our sim is having an issue here today. Just a heads up. I have had some issues with flight sim showing grass over my airfields. Our guns are charged. They are on. And we're going to start a strafing run. We're going to pull high off the target here. And extend. Over here you have your rocket arming switches. Last I checked, you could not launch the rockets, but you could drop bombs with your 500-pound and 2,000-pound bombs you can put on here. We're going to go in for another strafing run. Now there is one of these coming for DCS as well. It's kind of what triggered me to make this video, because I do enjoy this one quite well, and I know I'll enjoy that one just as well. Level out here. We're in. And we're giving some more bursts from our 50 cals. We're out. Extend. There's a couple of simulated strafing runs on our field there. We'll go ahead and do a little bit of a flight around the edges of the island here. Pull back to our cruise power setting. And we're going to go ahead and switch to a little bit of an external view to give you guys an idea of how she sounds in flight. You hear that telltale whistling that you typically hear in a Corsair, similar to the gun port whistle on a P-51 Mustang. You can hear it was there in that dive. So she's very stable in all phases. Obviously we're dealing with a little bit of a wind up here today. I believe we're rolling 10 gusts into 15. That is going to affect a warbird. But she's very stable in all phases. The trim settings are very, very sensitive. So that's something to look out for. But she's very, very easy to fly so long as you're not giving it the beans all the time. Just remember your cruise power settings in this bird, and you'll have a good time flying around the Pacific Theater Islands like we are today. And we'll go ahead and make a right turn here. Get ready to head back to base. Getting lined up. Watching our speed here. Got flaps 30. Gears down. We're going to watch it through the turn so we don't stall. Doing our nice angular approach that you would have seen in these aircraft. Good old power. Straighten her up here. And down. You have to be very careful because this has such high landing gear. You can do that and nearly tip your wing over. Also have to be careful with the brakes because you will get a prop strike in these. Is a absolutely gigantic prop out in front. Definitely something to keep in mind. Kind of had to land in an angle there due to the length of the field. Turn the game volume back up for everybody. I did have it turned down because that wind noise is so prohibitive. Go ahead and taxi off. Retract our flaps. And we'll show you the shutdown procedure, at least what I use. Go ahead, taxi back to the maintenance area. There's a maintenance area at this airfield too, which is cool. Keep your cowl flaps open when you're on the ground for ground cooling. You don't want to overheat your aircraft on the very bad. You've got some shacks over there. Give me that, I guess, an ATC on an island like this. Living on these islands as a fighter pilot was not glamorous like you see in the movies. It was, I mean, it was rough living. Very, very hot out here. It's, yeah, it's on the seaside, but that's salt water out there, so you're not going to exactly be going for a bath every day in the salt water, you know. Not like sitting by a lake in Austria. See the maintenance area back here. Fuel tanks on our left. When you're taxiing this aircraft, make sure you are always putting back on the stick. The second you're going to put in any amount of braking, you're going to want it. Especially if you don't have toe brakes. All the way to the way. Don't need much power in this kind of a slow tack. Go ahead and stop up here. Go ahead and put our chocks in. The easiest way that I typically will do it in a warbird or shutdown is just hit that off. Hold up the wings. It does have a hydraulic sound to it. It'd be hard to hear on a video. So the Magnetos. Guns are uncharged. Close. Cowl flaps. We don't need those anymore. Either retracting there. Instruments off. Master radio off. The battery. Some stutters through the battery shutdown. Oh, there you go. Kind of my little bit of an ode to the FG1D Corsair and Microsoft Flight Simulator. I look forward to bringing you one of these videos when it releases for DCS as well. Have a good day.